Petra, the ancient archaeological site in present-day Jordan that was the capital of the Nabatean kingdom around the 4th century BCE. Lost to the Western world for centuries until its rediscovery in the early 19th century by Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt. Today, Petra is a UNESCO World Heritage Site that is a major tourist attraction, drawing visitors from all over the globe who come to marvel at its awe-inspiring architecture. Along with Wadi Rum, it is right at the top of the must-see places from the cruise port of Aqaba, Jordan. So the question is, how do you get there? Hey everyone, Jeremy here. Hope you're all doing well, and by watching this video, my guess is that many of you have a trip to Petra planned in your futures. You might be wanting more information as to how far away from the port it is, and want to know if those rumors of a long, hot, unpaved walk into the site are actually true. Well, that's what we're covering in today's video. Now, every time that I've been working on a cruise ship that's been going to Aqaba, Jordan, without a doubt, the number one question that I always get asked about is how hard it actually is to get from the parking area for tour buses and independent transport into the actual site. How far is it? Do you have to walk? What is the ground like that you're walking on? And are there other forms of transport to get in? Well, we'll be covering all of that in today's video. Now, this isn't going to be a deep dive into the history of Petra. This is simply a practical guide to the logistics of visiting the site that answers the most commonly asked questions I get on board cruise ships about visiting there. So let's dive in. Now, the first thing to talk about is actually getting there in the first place. The port of Aqaba is located right at the endpoint of the Gulf of Aqaba, just off the Red Sea. The driving distance from the Aqaba Cruise Port to Petra is approximately 130 kilometers, which is around 80 miles. The travel time can vary depending on the route taken, traffic conditions, and the mode of transportation. Overall, the drive from Aqaba to Petra usually takes around 2 to 2.5 hours. Now, the drive itself is interesting as you are driving through terrain that for many people will be rarely seen landscape. On my most recent trip there, on the drive outside of one tomato farm, I barely saw a blade of grass in hours. Now, you do pass by Wadi Rum on the drive, albeit from a distance. It will be to your right-hand side on the way to Petra and the left-hand side on the return journey. Now, many tours will also stop at the Petra View Shop just outside a town called Rajif. Now, this provides a place to buy souvenirs, use a restroom, pick up some snacks, and then take some pictures of the incredible view below. When you arrive at the entrance to the site, you first have the visitor center. Here you have a security gate which leads into a courtyard area where there are lots of souvenirs, restrooms, a visitor center with some maps available in multiple languages, and tour guides for hire if you are traveling independently. Now, also speaking of buying souvenirs, often the tour guides instruct people not to buy items from children outside the entrance, as it encourages them to drop out of school. There is also a ticket office. However, if you're on an organized tour, most likely your tour guide will take care of this aspect of your trip. From there, this is where your journey begins. First, we'll address the walk-in. Once you have that information, then we'll discuss the other options. Now, when looking up online how long the walk is into Petra, you'll often find an array of different answers. The reason for this is that Petra is huge and many people define the site differently. Often, the reason for this is based around the most photographed part, the Treasury. From the visitor center, the walk to reach the Treasury is approximately 1.2 miles or 2 kilometers. This, however, is really just the starting point of the sites Petra has to offer. To make your whole way through the archaeological site, you would need to walk another 1.2 miles or 2 kilometers to reach the end. This makes it 2.5 miles or 4 kilometers each way, totaling 5 miles or 8 kilometers round trip, and that's without your off the beaten path deviations to explore the individual sites within the complex. This is why you find lots of different answers online. Now, to combat the varying distances, most tour guides will lead the walk to the Treasury, and then from there, provide the tour groups with time on your own to break off and explore at your own pace for a set period of time to accommodate varying walking speeds and levels of mobility. As far as the type of ground you're walking on, as you can see from much of the footage in this video, whilst it's relatively flat, it is unpaved. You're walking over rocky surfaces with loose stones the whole way. This definitely isn't really suitable for wheelchairs or scooters. So the question then becomes, do you have to do the walk? Are there other options, other forms of transport? Well, the answer here is that there are other ways of getting from the visitor center to the Treasury and beyond. Now, the two main options that you can do are either by a donkey ride or by the ever more common form of transport, the golf cart-like buggies. Both can be found just beyond the ticket booths at the visitor center. The buggies, known as club cars, are more standardized when it comes to pricing. As you can see here, on my most recent visit, it was 15 Jordanian dinar one way and 25 Jordanian dinar round trip. That works out roughly the equivalent of $21 one way and 35 round trip. As for the donkey rides, well, a lot of the price points here come down to the distances traveled and, quite honestly, your own negotiating skills. Just be aware too that there has been a strong push from people recently to try to remove the donkey vendors from the site due to animal mistreatment in recent years. While some donkey vendors might accept foreign currencies like US dollars or euros, it's generally better to have Jordanian dinars for your transactions just to play it safe. There are some small shops that offer currency exchange within the courtyard complex at Petra upon arrival. However, they don't offer the most favorable rates compared with the less touristy areas and actual authorized currency exchange offices. So hopefully that answers some questions for you with regards to the logistics of getting into Petra, the distances, the transport options, etc. Now, I'd encourage you to dive into reading up the history of the site before visiting, as will absolutely help add to the impact of your experience while being there. Now, if you have any questions about getting into the site, please don't hesitate to reach out in the comments section below. Thanks very much for watching, everyone, and enjoy your visit to Petra.